Sup guys, it's Alex here, and welcome to the Bracketology update for February 14th, 2020. Happy Valentine's Day to all your subscribers out there. I'm single, just throwing that out there. This is all about me today. It's all about us single guys out there rocking with the college basketball season, loving it with no girlfriend or anything like that to distract us from the tournament. Because I remember back in, I think it was the 2017 tournament, Kentucky versus North Carolina, back when Kentucky had De'Aaron Fox and Bam Adebayo and Malik Monk, and then North Carolina had Luke May and that whole squad that ended up, I think they ended up winning, or I think they lost to Villanova that year. Don't quote me on that. But I had a freaking date to where I missed that game. I was celebrating an anniversary. But man, that's just under the water at this point and all that. But welcome to the Bracketology update. This one had a bit of a different start than usual. But before I get started with the Bracketology, I just want to shout out the this Instagram page, Selection Sunday Updates. I follow them for all my Selection Sunday and NCAA basketball content, and when I'm trying to follow it with the different work and stuff that I have going on, they post the updates with the games and stuff, and just news about different players and stuff, as you can see right there. So go ahead and give them a follow. We're kind of working together in this college basketball season. Also, yesterday I posted the NCAA tournament ticket giveaway. If I hit 5,000 subscribers by March 17th, which is the Tuesday after Selection Sunday, when the first college basketball games start of the NCAA tournament, I will be giving away 2 NCAA tournament tickets to the first round. So make sure you go check out that video for details on how to enter, and I'll also put the details on how to enter in the description below. All you have to do is just subscribe with post notifications turned on, follow me on Instagram at AlexPrice24, and then DM me a picture of you being subscribed and your favorite team and closest tournament location, and you will be entered. So 2 minutes into the video, let's go ahead and start discussing this bracketology. Sorry about the long intro and stuff. Now, as you can see here, there's not a whole lot of movement up and down seed-wise, but a lot of the teams and matchups kind of switched across the different bracket, which I think is actually more interesting than teams moving up seed lines, because it's all about the matchups. It's all about the matchups in the NCAA tournament. That's why teams like Kentucky or whatever, while they are a 4 or a 5, they're a 4 in this bracket over there in Sacramento. I really like their matchup against Colorado, for example, and I don't even know if I'll be picking Colorado over Furman. At this point, we'll kind of see how the bracket goes, but just kind of looking through, I'll just kind of go with the new movements just to kind of throw those out there. Cincinnati is new to the field as an 11 seed in Tampa, as you can see. LSU is down to a 7, Creighton's up to a 5. Colgate's up to a 13, Florida's up to a 10. Austin Peay is new to the field as the OVC representative over Murray State. Texas Tech is now up to a 6, Winthrop's down to a 14, and Marquette is down to a 6. Now I'll kind of show you the bubble over here too. Last 4 byes are USC, Virginia, Xavier, and Cincinnati. Cincinnati got a big win last night over Memphis. Then we got last 4 in are Arkansas, Indiana, who got the huge win at home over Iowa, which they really needed that at this point in the season. Arizona State and Stanford. First 4 out are poor East Tennessee State. I love them as an at-large candidate from the Southern Conference. They're right on the cut line right now. And then VCU, Minnesota, and Utah State. Then the next 4 out are NC State, Richmond, Georgetown, and Memphis. And then I'll go, just to run down to the different conferences here. The Big Ten has 11 teams in. Pac-12 has 6 teams in. They have more than the SEC or ACC. We talk all the time about how the Pac-12 is the worst out of all the different conferences and stuff. But in this case, as you can see, they're doing pretty good bracketology-wise. So, you can't really complain too much about that. Then if we go to the bracketology, as you can see here, we're kind of go ahead and make the picks. First, we have Baylor and the winner of NC Central and Robert Morris. So there we just got to go with Baylor. Then we have Ohio State and Northern Iowa. I'm actually going to go with Ohio State winning that one there. As much as I'd love to go with the upset pick in Northern Iowa, we got to go with Ohio State winning that one. Ohio State's going to be battle tested through the Big Ten. As much as I want to pick Northern Iowa there, we also have a lot of subscribers who are Ohio State fans, so we got to appease them here, and I do think they'll end up winning. Up next, I'm actually going to have Colorado beat Furman. As much as I want to pick Furman pulling off the upset there, I think they're a really good Southern Conference representative. I just don't see them beating Colorado. Colorado's been looking really good. I think the 5 seed would be their best seed since the 64-team tournament even started, so that's pretty cool. They're having a great season. The Kentucky will beat North Texas. I don't think Kentucky would struggle with that too much. Then we're going to have I'm going to have Cincinnati pull off the first upset of the tournament over Arizona. I think Arizona's a bit too young at this point. They lose to teams that they shouldn't lose, and they beat teams that they shouldn't beat. Kind of a weird thing, and Cincinnati's right on the bubble, as you saw earlier during the last 4 byes. but I think they can pull off the upset there with drawing Cumberland. Then Florida State will beat Little Rock. I'm going to go with LSU, who I think is a bit underseeded here as a 7 seed. I could see them maybe as a 5. Then Maryland will beat UC Irvine. Then for a spot in the Sweet 16, we have Baylor beating Ohio State, Kentucky beating Colorado, Florida State I think will be able to hold off there against Cincinnati, and then LSU and Maryland. I think these two teams played each other in last year's tournament. I think LSU was a 3 and Maryland was a 6. Maybe it was the other way around. I don't remember, but either way, I'm going to go with Anthony Cohen and Maryland moving on to the Sweet 16 for a spot in the Elite Eight. As much as I want to pick my Kentucky Wildcats here, they've just been too inconsistent this season, and Baylor's only lost once, and that was at the beginning of the season to Washington in a game that they dominated the entire game up until the end. So I got to go with Baylor winning that one. Then I'm going to go with Florida State moving on here to the Elite Eight as a 3 seed. I think they're a really good team. They're not getting many looks out there in the ACC. I think they're tied for 2nd or 3rd in the ACC. They're looking pretty good. I mean, Maryland's near the top, if not at the top of the Big Ten. I could easily see Maryland winning that one, but I'm going to go with Florida State here with their defense and Leonard Hamilton moving on. And then for a spot in the Final Four, we got to go with Baylor. I mean, you can't bet against them coming out of that region right now. So then we'll move down here to the bottom left regional. San Diego State's obviously going to beat Montana. I wouldn't be too concerned about that if I was a San Diego State fan. I'm gonna go with St. Mary's moving on. I know they just got blown up by 30 against Gonzaga, but I think they can get the victory there. Michigan's been kind of iffy as the calendar's turned to 2020, so I don't know how they would perform in a high situation matchup like that, especially if St. Mary's can catch fire. Then we're going to go with Creighton moving on past Yale. I'm going to go with Penn State beating Colgate. I'm actually going to go with an upset pick here. I'm going to go with Virginia over Iowa. I know Luke Garza is one of the contenders for National Player of the Year from Iowa, and they have been able to beat teams and look really impressive. I think they're a really good offensive team, but their defense definitely leaves something to be desired as they've gotten blown out by Purdue, and I think it was last weekend, and then they ended up losing to Indiana last night, and Virginia has one of the best defensive, if they're not the best defensive team in the NCAA, they're definitely up there in like the top 10, so I'm going to go with Virginia winning that one. Their offense has to catch fire at some point. I think they can pull off the upset there. Then we're going to go with Seton Hall beating Hofstra. Then I'm going to go with Florida pulling off the minor upset there over Houston. I think Florida has a talent to definitely move on in that round right there, especially with Kerry Blackshear. Then Duke, I think, will beat Austin Peay. Then first spot in the Sweet 16, we got San Diego State beating St. Mary's, Penn State beating Creighton. Oh, I could easily see Creighton moving on there. I'd love to see that matchup there in the second round, Creighton-Penn State. Sad thing that one of those two teams has to lose before reaching to the Sweet 16. Then next, we're going to have Seton Hall and Miles Powell beating Virginia. Then Florida losing to Duke, which we're putting Duke in the Elite Eight there, or in the Sweet 16 there. Then for a spot in the Elite Eight, as I just mentioned, we have San Diego State losing to Penn State. I think Penn State could easily pull off the upset there. San Diego State isn't going to be too battle-tested by the time the tournament rolls around, and they will most likely be undefeated, but I really like Penn State. They're going to be coming out of that Big Ten. Who knows? They might even win the tournament. It'll be really interesting to see. I think they're a really good team to watch in the tournament this year. Then I think that Seton Hall will be Duke with Miles Powell. I do think Seton Hall lost this week to Creighton, but then I think they'll be able to beat Duke. I wouldn't be too concerned about that. I think Miles Powell can overpower the rest of the Duke underperformers. I'm going to go with Seton Hall with Miles Powell moving on to the Final Four there as a 3 seed to face Baylor, which we'll kind of see the results of that later. Up next, we'll go over here to the top right regional where we have Kansas beating North Florida. I don't think that one would be too tough for Kansas there, though you can never put it past a 16 seed now that UMBC beat Virginia a couple years ago. Then we're going to have Wisconsin. I really want to pick Rhode Island to win here, but Wisconsin has been getting some pretty impressive wins recently, and I have been trashing them, so I'm going to go with Wisconsin winning that matchup there. Oregon, I think, will hold off against Vermont. I really like to see Oregon win there with Peyton Pritchard. Then I'm going to go with my first big upset prediction of this bracket. I'm going to go with New Mexico State beating Villanova. Villanova is one of the best offensive teams in the nation, but it seems like something's missing from that program this year. Don't quite know what it is, but I think that New Mexico State can take advantage of it as one of those mid-majors that always gives trouble in the first round. I'm going to go with Texas Tech moving on past Xavier. Auburn, I think, will handle Winthrop there. Illinois, I think if they get that Io DeSumo or whatever his name is back in time for the tournament, I think they'll be able to move on there past USC. Then Dayton with Obi Toppin will move on past Bowling Green. Then first spot in the Sweet 16, we have Kansas beating Wisconsin. Oregon, I think, holding off against New Mexico State. This is another really tough matchup for me to pick here between Texas Tech and Auburn, but I do think I'm going to go with Auburn and end up winning that one. Then we have Dayton beating Illinois. Then for a spot in the Elite Eight, we got Kansas and Oregon. Oregon's just been kind of too inconsistent as the season's gone on. I got to go with Kansas winning that one. As much as it pains me to say, I think they've been I mean, they've been checking off all the boxes this season. They have one of the best resumes in the country. I'm going to go with Dayton beating Auburn there with Obi Toppin. They haven't lost in a long time. I think that they can definitely get that victory there. Then for a spot in the Final Four, we're going to go with Dayton with Obi Toppin. I would say that's an upset there. This is a rematch of the Maui Invitational, which went to overtime at the beginning of the season, which Kansas did win. But I think that Obi Toppin and Dayton can get their revenge in the NCAA tournament where it means more. Then for a spot, or for the next region, the final one in the bottom right, we have Gonzaga beating the winner of Prairie View A&M and Rider. Rutgers, I think, will be able to hold off Oklahoma. Then we have Michigan State beating the winner of Arkansas and Stanford, which I think at this point would probably be Arkansas. Then we got Stephen F. Austin pulling off another upset here. We have two 13 seeds pulling off upsets over the 4 seeds. As I mentioned in the last video, I really like Stephen F. Austin. They were able to beat Duke at Duke, and plus Butler's been kind of falling off the map recently. So, or I wouldn't say falling off the map because they did get a victory over Xavier, but they've lost like 6 times in 2020, something like that. Then Marquette, I think, will be able to beat the winner of Arizona State and Indiana, which at this point will probably be Arizona State. West Virginia, I think, can beat Wright State. They're going to go with a 10/7 here with Purdue beating BYU. BYU is definitely one of those teams that can make a run in the tournament. They're one of the best shooting teams in the entire NCAA, but I really like Purdue there, who can also get really hot at the right time. I'm going to go with Louisville beating South Dakota State. Then for a spot in the Sweet 16, we have Gonzaga beating Rutgers. Michigan State, I think, will be able to beat Stephen F. Austin. I think I had picked Stephen F. Austin to beat Michigan State in the last bracketology that I did, but Michigan State did get that impressive victory over Illinois, so I'm going to go with Michigan State winning that one. Then I think that Marquette will upset West Virginia. The streak of not picking West Virginia to make the Sweet 16 continues, with Marcus Howard being able to overpower them, and plus West Virginia just lost to Oklahoma. They do have a big match, and I think they just lost to Kansas too, I think on either Tuesday or Wednesday. I can't remember which one it was, but they're kind of falling recently. I think they play Baylor this weekend too, so that'll be a nice test for them. Then I think that Louisville will end up beating Purdue. Then for our spot in the Elite Eight, we have Gonzaga losing to Michigan State. These last couple bracketologies that I've been doing, I've had Gonzaga win, but I'm going to switch it up and go with an upset pick here. Cassius Winston, I think, can move Michigan State past Gonzaga in what's the NCAA tournament without a big upset there. Michigan State will move on past Gonzaga. Then I'm going to go with Louisville with the recent breakout candidate and David Johnson moving on past Marquette. I think the 1-2 combo of Jordan Nwora and David Johnson can move them past the 1 combo of Marquette. Then for a spot in the Final Four, Louisville and Michigan State, I'm going to go with Louisville moving on there as a 2 seed. So in the Final Four, we have a 1 seed, 2 seeds, and 1 3 seed. So for a spot in the national championship game, Baylor and Seton Hall. Almost said Duke and Seton Hall, but I'm going to pick Baylor to end up winning that one. They've only lost that 1 time this season, and right now I think they're the best team in the country. Then Dayton and Louisville, I'd love to see this matchup here, and I'm going to switch it up and go with Obi Toppin and Dayton. I know that they don't have a ton of talent behind Obi Toppin, but they've been winning games that they need to win, and I think they can get the job done there, which sets up a national championship game of Baylor and Dayton. And I know it's going to kind of irk some people that I'm going with the #1 overall seed in the tournament to win, but it switches up just based on matchups. As I mentioned earlier, I'm going to go with Baylor winning right now. I just have no reason to pick against them. They've been checking off all the boxes. They have a big game coming up against West Virginia this weekend, so good luck to them. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to leave your own comments and thoughts and predictions on this bracketology in the comment section below. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. Make sure you check out that other video in the description below on how to enter the NCAA tournament ticket giveaway. If we hit 5,000 subscribers by March 17th, I will be giving away that NCAA tournament ticket, so make sure you're subscribed for that. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I will see you all later.